Welcome everyone to another RGL cast. My name is Jared. I'm here at TC to bring you guys like a G6 versus Froyotech. This is RGL Invite 6's Season 17 Week 9B, and even though it's the last season, doesn't mean that all the games are over. We've saved some of the best for last, and I think one of the ones that people have been anticipating the most when it comes to rematches is going to be the match we have tonight. G6 Froyotech, we last saw them. I think the map was sultry. And Froyotech, even with ringers this whole season and all the different situations they've had to deal with when it comes to internet and things like that, they've been on top. They have the 17-0 record, and if they win this match tonight, they will achieve the 18-0 undefeated regular season result. But I mean, if there was any team that would be able to do it, it definitely would be G6, and we're gonna all see how it shakes down and whether that's gonna happen tonight or not here on Metalworks.
Yeah, very excited to see this rematch because for the first half of the season, G6, they were definitely coming out of slumber. You know, hibernation was ending. They were getting back into the swing of things, and you can maybe account that for their initial loss against a Franz J, and then, against Froyotech. Who knows how much they had scrimmed sultry going into that point. You know, it's not a pretty standard 5CP map, so you can give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. The next loss against Franz J, a little bit harder to just brush aside, and now they're coming up against the rematch versus Froyotech, and this is definitely, of course, they are set for playoffs, regardless if they win or lose this, but it could be a little bit of a statement piece, you know, to be like, to maybe people who have doubted them over the course of this season, like, all right, you may have thought that we're not G6. We're still G6. We didn't downgrade. We're not G5. We're not G4. We're still G6. Still the LAN champions. Still the team to beat. And, you know, it's their opportunity to take away Froyotech's perfect regular season, like you said. And even though we've had Banny on the stream and he said they're not too concerned about having a perfect regular season, I'm sure they'd very much like it. It's a really great look, really great way to start off both playoffs and the two upcoming LANs that are happening very, very imminently. And it's just a great way to maybe get some morale for the team and be like, all right, regular season, we didn't get beaten. Playoffs going to be easy for us. LAN as well in the bag. And it's going to be all coming to a head tonight on Metalworks. Like you said, last big match for both of these guys before playoffs. And really maybe a final opportunity to kind of feel each other out before things start to get very, very real.
Yep, I think for the side of G6, they're mostly playing to keep their seed intact. No matter what, they'll be playing, you know, the same team, whether it's they're in second or third, right? But obviously, if you have a little bit of advantage in the map pick bans, that's obviously a bit better if you can be more comfortable with your map pool, maybe have the final say if you do indeed go to a third map. That's always nice. So having that ability to have it under your control is really good. And obviously a win versus Froyotech here tonight would really do that for them. You can take a look at the map bans to see how we came across this. G6 got rid of Sultry right off the bat, so not rematching that. And Granny will be another ban, as well as Snake. Froyotech seems pretty simple so far. We've seen plenty of Koth bans from them, actually, and I'm actually kind of curious, honestly, if that's going to continue into playoffs or not. Obviously, you can't do double Koth ban, because you only get to ban one before the other team picks, but we'll see which one they end up banning, because you can only do one of them when playoffs runs around, and then process eliminated, trying to practice something else, like you said. The results don't matter as much as the grind does to refine your map pool. And G6... picking Metalworks, it's funny. In the very beginning of this team's iteration, they talked about how Metalworks was a really iffy map for them because it didn't allow them to play a fast pace. And then as the seasons go on, it turns into this map that they actually pick because they actually do pretty well in it. And honestly, probably pretty decent versus Froyo as well, mostly because I think this is one of the more aggressive versions of Froyotech that we've seen. Not the most aggressive per se, but you know, they go in pretty deep for the most part. And I think this is a decent map if you want to kind of counter that, not have to deal with the chaos and have it more controlled. So who knows how much of it is, you know, their confidence on Metalworks in itself and how much of it was trying to be a little bit of a, you know, a thorn on the other team's side with the map pick. But either way, I feel like it makes sense as the choice overall on their end. But, you know, not like Froyotech doesn't get a chance to pull some tricks out of their sleeve, and we'll see what they have in store for us as well on the map.
Yeah, we will see what they have in store. If you don't know these rosters, I don't know where you've been, because they've been pretty stable, all things considered. But just to run down them Banny, Brandslam going to be the 2 scouts. Laz and Patty going to be the soldiers. They did swap halfway through the season, so if you missed that, they did. Laz is now on Pocket instead of Roamer, as you probably most known him for. And then Patty is going to be on Roamer instead. Habib on Demo, Hubada on Medic. It was maybe a little bit of a question whether Laz was going to be here, because I think the last Froyotech match we casted, he wasn't able to be there. They had Quacks instead, and even in the pregame scrim, actually, Laz not able to make an appearance, so just being able to make it, get into the server in time for the actual game, fortunate enough for Froyotech to have all of their players there. And then on the other side, it's G6 as you know them. Caps and bot mode going to be the scouts, Soapy and Kobe, the soldiers, Logan on Demo, and Howard on Medic, playing for, instead of Lil Guy for this season. Lil Guy is going to rejoin up with the team for LAN, but kind of, you know, 2 very solid rosters, 2 kind of cores that have been around for a while at this point, Jared. You know, it's we're long past when, like a G6, were the up-and-comers. They're the big dogs now. You know, they've gone through their phase of getting that upset win against Witness Gaming, who were expected to be the, you know, the guys to topple Froyotech. Now they're the ones who have toppled Froyotech and are kind of sitting in the seat that Froyotech has sat in for so many seasons of TF2. Sure, they didn't play the last one. Froyotech won that one, but when you look at LANs, you know, G6 are still the kind of reigning champions, and any battle between these two is always going to go kind of down to the wire, and it's always so fun because, you know, kind of like you said, even if it doesn't have too much implications for playoffs, aside of maybe potential seeding for like a G6, it's just kind of a pride thing for these guys. You know, they want to win, they don't want to be the losers in this bout, and it should be pretty good.
Yep. I think it is important to note, though, that G6 have been, you know, they've been taking it easy this season. It's one of those situations, at least as far as I'm aware, where you kind of know, like, your playoff spot is basically guaranteed because of your like capabilities as a team and as players. So, you know, you just kind of take the matches as they come, and then when it matters most, then you'll heat up. Like we've kind of saw a slip up here or there across their matches, but so far they've been, for the most part, relatively on point. The question is obviously when it comes down to the most difficult moments that you'll find in a match versus the best teams, are you going to continue to, you know, are you going to have these tiny little slip-ups, or are you going to be the well-oiled machine that people kind of know you as? So, I think as every G6 match goes on, people are still kind of guessing when is the moment where they're, you know, they're going to be able to dominate like people kind of expect them to. And so far, you know, we've seen moments of greatness, but we haven't really seen full dominance yet. And maybe it'll be tonight. Maybe it'll have to wait until playoffs. Maybe Froyotech will just shut them down throughout the entirety of the season. It's going to be a while before we're able to see what we have in store for us long term. But short term, the match has gone live here on the networks between Froyotech and G6. Only one can be crowned the victor, and it will start at this mid-fight.
Will indeed, as all eyes really on the demos on this mid-fight. Now they're here, and a huge bomb already from Laz onto Howard. Howard surfs out to safety and is going to be very far back, very weak. Patty trying to go in for the chase. Caps has got his number, but Patty still in, should be able to get the rocket's nose taken down just in the nick of time before he's able to get the shot off onto Howard, so the medic going to be able to stay alive. Kobe, super weak, making his way over into lobby. G6 just have so much space here. They're barreling forward, so much damage onto Laz. Banny have to drop down to try and meet up with his medic. Froyotech have managed to keep Hubada alive, but everyone else except for him and Banny have gone down. First mid win for like a G6.
G6 did a really good job recognizing that because Howard had to surf away, no one was going to get healed, so they kind of canceled any plans of aggression whatsoever and actually kind of held S with Howard to make sure that, you know, Logan wouldn't die and that Caps would stay alive. Extra props to Soapy for the counter initiation. Only dying later on in the mid as well, but making sure that he shows up at the right moment when Froyotech tries to take high ground off of everyone retreating. Kind of thwarts that away and prevents them from really barreling forward and locking things down entirely, draws eyes and allows them to walk back in after they collect the soldier kills. So good job overall collectively on their end, and they're in a pretty good spot now to try to go ahead and go for this force. Probably one of the most perilous seconds to ever be on, but double bomb going in, taking Logan out of the equation immediately. Entire team running forward, trades all around, and the drop comes out because the crossbow was out. I do not think, I mean, most teams don't expect not only one but two soldiers and an entire team barreling forward at them. So the off play from Froyotech definitely catching them by surprise. Maybe more than a lot of people would have anticipated, but nonetheless, they're spawn camping the forward, unable to get out at all from the side of G6, as they will all have to go ahead and back spawn and make sure they can set up for last. You see Caps inside the forwards, maybe getting one final scorch shot, but it'll be pretty much leading to no results as here comes the setup. You got the gun, you got the heavy double defense, no sniper, but Froyotech have the Uber, Howard only at 30%, so ample opportunity to collect the first round here, but the execution has to be on point, so buffing up now, and we'll see what door they end up picking.
He said Froyotech being so aggressive with that play onto second and it paying dividends already. Are they going to be able to complete the sweep all the way from their second onto the enemy team's last? They use in the Uber, all shots onto the sentry gun. They managed to take it down. Banny, very weak, does trade out with Soapy Meister, but there's no scout left in here. Brand Slam finally making his way to the point. A lot of cap time. Bot mode jumps onto it. Brand Slam is going to be taken down. And that's going to be the first round for Froyotech. Really great stuff there. Brand Slam just recognizing the objective, standing onto the point. Bot mode trying to block it, but not able to get the kill. And then the late play from the soldier seals the deal.
Yep, it was by thin margins, but it works. They collected both soldiers out of the equation, which means it's much harder to actually go ahead and go for that block. Less splash damage once you step onto it, so it makes the cap that much easier. The one player advantage definitely helps as well, so we'll see what happens on this next mid as they took Howdy out of the equation, but they did not take the G6 team out of the equation. A lot of aggression right off the bat. Getting a little bit of damage onto the scouts. The floater's going to go for Howard once again, trying to find the location to land on him, and will succeed in taking him out. Habib going to drop. Froyotech, they have enough players left alive, but they need to make sure they're able to survive the onslaught from the remaining, but no. Kobe, Logan, not in the best position. Logan's actually making sure he doesn't get chased, but Brand Slam gets the one shot onto Kobe, and Logan's not long for this world either. Oh, that's a complete cutoff from the side of Froyotech, so it's a slight adjustment from how they began their aggression onto Howard and making sure that they're actually able to clean up someone else in return, dealt with the counter initiation, completely turn the mid around, only doing some slight differences and end up taking the mid this time and have ad as well, deja vu.
They are going to have ad Froyotech putting themselves in a really great position. Caps is up on Sniper, just trying to see if he can get the miracle headshot, ideally onto Hubada, and just stall and delay this Froyotech push in. If he's able to get that one, that would be a miracle for his team, but as it stands, Froyotech in a good position to take this in. They're going to be going in through the elbow. They get in. They take down the sentry gun. It takes a little bit of a while, but they manage to get it. Now Habib trying to find any damage whatsoever. Laz on the high ground just at a moment's notice, waiting to pounce. They get a little bit of cap time. Laz jumps down onto Logan, manages to get him. Good kill for Froyotech. They're all very weak. They're going to have to wait and get re-healed up, and then maybe they can come back in, but Howard is very close to his own Uber, so if Froyotech do it, it probably just has to turn into a sack wave. Brand Slam peeking it, but I think that's going to be Froyotech failing the last push and now on the defensive.
Yep. Not able to really use a Logan death because they are indeed too close to Uber on the side of G6, but G6, it seems like they're unsure. Actually, no, they're not unsure about if the ad is big enough. It's G6. They're definitely the team that's going to be like, no, we'd rather play mid. We don't want to go through this whole slog of like pushing out into 2. It's extremely difficult to hold, and then even if something goes well for us on 2, it's near impossible to get mid for free, and because it's too long of a walk, they would rather, especially on this map, they'd rather just have last, so they'll deliberately give up the Uber ad. Froyotech will get their Uber. Banny will, I guess, I don't know if that was a sack or an accident, but either way, he's dead, and he'll be respawning right now up on a normal cookie cutter class. The rare Banny sniper will not make an appearance quite yet, but Soapy will get picked off, dancing a little bit too close into the shutter probably, or something along the lines of that. Didn't quite see, but either way, a pick that Froyotech can indeed use. They do have to get through the gun first, but they can find a way to spam it down, or just do a 4-man to, you know, have someone enter the meat grinder and everyone else make their way on to Howard. Back to work out as well, but overall, they will not find that much success. Both Patty and Banny dying. 3 other Froyotech members dropping to red HP as they're trying to hold this 6v4 scenario.
Oh, Laz is so weak, just barely not getting killed by Kobe. 1 rocket there, and Laz would have been toast, but it is not going to be collected from Kobe, so everyone on G6 just going to back up. That was essentially their sack, so now Froyotech, with a player advantage, they could try and go for something quick again, maybe go for another 2-man, which they kind of inadvertently did. I don't think it was an intentional. I don't think Banny wanted to die there, but Patty tried to go when Banny over on the near the sentry gun, maybe trying to see if he can get some chip shot damage in as both soldiers come in. They want to take down the sentry gun here. They have not been able to do so, so they just jump back. Neither of them died, which is gonna be okay for Froyotech. That just means they can get them healed up and try and do something similar again.
Yep, at the end of the day, more burn time, very favorable in G6's favor. Bot mode setting up the teleporter thing for Howard to take if he feels like he needs to. It's also a classic that we've seen on Metalworks last. He's done this a lot before. Gotta be mindful of the stickies that are on the bridge. Habib's holding those, hoping that someone's gonna peek and eat the damage, but he's the one that's eating damage himself from Logan, barking in through the shutter, buying even more time as the rotation comes to the left side, maybe a double soldier bomb for the height, going off the lamp, trying to find a way onto Howard, dancing around the point, one hit rocket, surfs away, Patty lands on his head, and will have to use because of the threat. They kill the engineer, that is their consolation prize alongside the force, and this, I mean, it's probably enough to hold, honestly, realistically. It is only a 3v5, but it is the Metalworks of all things. Really sketchy. You can see it in the way that G6 is moving. They're very paranoid. They do not want to send one for the force off the player advantage. They'd rather just set up on last. Bot mode respawning, Caps going to heavy once again, the double defense, no sniper. And Froyotech, they got their whole team. They're ready to go.
Yeah, they're coming in here. They're going straight into the sentry gun. They managed to take it down. No one at risk of falling just quite yet from like a G6. Soapy bombing around. A little bit of cap time onto the point. Banny trying to play it a little bit more as G6 bomb it. Try to protect it. Both soldiers taken down. Nice rockets from Patty. It is overtime and Froyotech clutch it up. They get every single person on G6 and at the point to boot. That's going to be 2-0. Froyotech looking so good in the first part of this game.
Sometimes all it takes is 4 minutes on the dot. Not 1 second sooner, not 1 second later. As that's another round in favor of Froyotech so far. Split on the mids, but Froyotech made a pretty good adjustment last time around. So now it's kind of up to G6 to figure out what they need to change to put themselves back ahead and in the game here, especially on the board long term. So immediately see a left side rollout. Soapy spawning one of the scouts sitting on the roof. Counter initiation from the soldiers, and Howard immediately dead. We're gonna overtrail trade for Banny on the other side of the map. Need to find a way on the Hubada. One rock will hit him, surfs up into the enemy team's lobby. Pretty much alone, has Laz running to him, but will get scattered by bot mode, who actually takes down Laz as well. It's just Habib and Patty left alive. One falling. Patty going for the Hail Mary, maybe find a way onto Soapy, and will not find the frag. We'll go ahead and surf up onto the health pack and be A-okay. So overall, G6 made the necessary adjustments to put themselves back in a good spot. But it's not just the mids you need to win here. You do need to find a way to get the round conversion and put numbers on the board. And with both medics dying, they're not in the best spot to actually secure 2 for their own. It's looking like it's going to be a mid-to-2 stalemate for the most part.
Yeah, Froyotech already on second. Banny in house trying to see if there's maybe some type of angle, maybe a player that is caught out that they can just kind of bum rush with him and Branch Flame in the help of some heals. But everyone on G6 playing back enough that that won't be the case. So now over into Valley, and now it's going to be an opportunity for G6 to try and bomb in, try and get the force out from Hubada, but hopefully they will have learned, Jared, because last time they were in this position on the very first round, Froyotech went for such an aggressive play, having their soldiers bomb into Valley with everyone else just kind of pressuring in. Branch Slam managing to get in onto the medic as well and just wiping like a G6. So even though it should be G6 on the attack, we've already seen Froyotech. They're not ones to wait around here and give G6 all of this space, all of this potential for nothing.
I will say that move they made previously was definitely qualified as like a play. So if they try it again, that's some super disrespect. Because if you're the red team right now and you expect their entire team's going to run at you, you just Uber and you kill them all, you know? But we'll actually see a sack this time around. Soapy goes in, gets a little bit of damage on the hub, but not too much to write home about as the rest of the team goes ahead and backs up. Logan jumps away, so there's no traps or anything like that. As Froyotech, they're trying to go through underpass. Logan's re-sticking them off, slowing things down. It actually kind of prevents a real counter-attack from coming out, because by the time Patty would be able to get through, or Laz, either one of the soldiers, realistically, it would be too little too late. Soapy would already be up, and they'd be down a soldier for the incoming moves coming from G6. So they cut their losses. Not going to worry about it. Like I said, even though you're not climbing back from last, this is another point where, you know, going all the way to mid and taking for free isn't the easiest thing to do quickly because of how long the walk is. That's one of the more common maps to just say screw it and cut your losses on. But immediate double bomb. Not going to be able to send their whole team, but the double bomb will seal the deal. And honestly, that was pretty good timing. Just spotting them from underpass to know when to actually go in for the sealed deal is Uber will come out, catches them from behind. Howard will fall. The post Uber coming in through now. Sophie trying to find some damage. Bot mode wants to clean up, running it. Grand Slam is able to pistol him down. He only has 18 HP, but it is enough to at least get that kill. Bomb from Kobe. 2 rockets on the Hubada. That's a very late medic death. And Froyotech, I mean, they're kind of they're holding things down at least a little bit, but they're not that healthy. Caps going in.
Logan.
Nice air shot from Logan. They're kind of cleaning up house now. I mean, there are some respawners coming in. Annie's around trying to clean up this frag on a Sophie. Doesn't have the most help, so they'll kind of hold it for now. But because Howard has such a faster respawn, you know, G6 they're kind of sticking around. This is still kind of coin flippy.
It is a little bit, but Logan getting caught out is definitely going to be bad for G6. He just barely gets out on 6 hit points now. Everyone else on G6 over in house. Kobe trying to pressure is not going to be able to get enough space or enough damage to make a call to send everyone else in. So G6 are just going to slow down. Only a minute left on the round timer before we go into a reset. So technically, I guess you can count that as either Froyotech defending second or G6 defending mid, however you want to frame it, because they both of them had some good opportunities. But Laz trying to go for something again. Nice rockets onto Howard. Grand Slam with the committal as well. It's worked 3 times in a row, but now it's going to be a bomb in onto Hubba. Kobe going in deep is not going to be able to find the kill this time. It's only going to be bot mode over on the low ground in a 1v1 pistol spam battle with Fanny. Both of these scouts trying to make it work finally. Bot mode does get the better. Late bomb from Sophie onto Hubba. Hits a nice rocket, but falls down onto the low ground. Just barely misses the upward
Hubba's gonna start the cap. They went all in for that dry push, and he's just getting the cap. Or at least a little bit of cap time, but Kobe coming in hot. Only Grand Slam is there. Everyone else is rolling out. This is a 4v2, and Hubba is just dead. 98%! Oh, they bit off more than they can chew. But it doesn't matter, though. They know that even if they die, it's not like G6 is gonna get to push, because there's no cap time. So they're playing with fire, maybe in a normal situation, but a normal situation, this is not. So overall, be inconsequential, as we're off to another mid-fight after the round resets.
We are off to another one, and I mean, if you're G6, you know, the mids have been kind of flip-floppy, sure, but pushing in onto second seems to be the real barrier to success for them, at least at the moment, because Froyotech have executed that kind of plan 3 times, and it's worked all 3 times now. It's going to be G6 with the double soldier bombs. Sophie bombing in around everyone on G6, kind of rotating into Froyotech's side of the map, and Logan getting 2 right off the bat. Laz is in onto Howard. G6 forcing everyone on Froyotech back, just taking all of that space immediately, and now this should be a much easier entry on the second for them.
Yeah, I mean, if you roll out top left as demo, and your team rolls out top left, so all the spam is there, and you don't get your arrow, it's in. But he's Habib salvaging a bit, gets the kill on the Sophie. They're running forward for Froyotech. It's actually Hubba that gets the kill onto Logan, and Howard. The ball! The ornament bot mode saves him. Howard lives for now. They had to give up 3 for it, though. Froyotech, they have a small player advantage to use, 3v4 scenario in their favor, but they'd be up against forward respawners, so, you know, they'd really have to just immediately get a kill if they want to keep going, especially because Banny is on Sniper. He's in alley alone and will end up dying. Laz as well. Overall, a trade for Soldier, so now the ball's kind of in G6's court to make some moves. They don't have all their players, though. Logan and Caps are nowhere to be seen, and as soon as Froyotech recognize that, the aggression's going to start to pop. Howard getting bombed. Overall, a trade of explosive classes that won't really lead to too much, at least for now. Uber available if Froyotech does want to extend these spawns, and they have the classes to do so. And it's actually Uber exchange initiated by the red team. Know it's coming out. They want to make sure that this post can happen before the respawners of Froyotech actually reach here. Grand Slam maybe going for the kill on one of the scouts, actually taken out by the side of Logan, but the respawners are here in full force. Logan, not long for this world. Taken out by a rocket from Laz. Looping around are the scouts. The final pistol from Caps will seal the deal, and maybe bot mode can get a kill. He gets the kill onto Banny. Help on the way. Coat actually thought he wasn't going to be able to live there, but he's actually the last one left alive. Still snaking around, but will not find his luck onto Laz. It'll take him out there. And overall, I mean, G6, they kind of quote-unquote won the fight, maybe, but the respawns are too long of a walk. So realistically, it's Froyotech that just gets here much faster. They get to continue to hold on. But the only thing that G6 can really work with is the extremely slim ad that they've generated based on the timing of the med death. So you immediately see them building it up. You'll likely see Hubba doing exactly the same with his team. And we'll see if they take this ad by slim margins.
I mean, it's going to be very, very slim, really only about 20%, which we've seen teams do before. It just takes one nice bomb, maybe from Logan through house, a little kind of sticky pogo, and he can get right in deep there where a Hubbard is playing over by the shutter door. So if G6 go, they really have to commit, get a lot of frags, or get onto Hubbard, which they might be able to do. Hubbard going onto the low ground, might just be able to get, there's a little bit of beef going on here. Hubbard should be dead by now. It's not falling, finally does. Bot mode with the pistol kill is able to clutch it out, but Howard is also incredibly weak, might be able to stay alive, should be able to get out of stuck over in Valley, is disconnected, and Laz dies trying to get the kill, but he is gonna fall regardless. Kobe, the last one left, and even though G6, they get in with the Uber, they do manage to take Hubba down. Froyotech still walk away the victors.
Yeah, the fact that it took that long to kill Hubba made their poster position not what they wanted it to be realistically. Something caught up Logan, he went in a different direction than the Caps did, and it slowed everything down. They defined themselves on the low ground, indoors, eating all the spam from this, I think it was Laz that bombed into the post, and kind of put the hurt on them. I mean, Howard surfed away, but I mean, surfing away from your teammates, no heals, hurts the longevity of the fight, so Froyotech come out on top there from the G6 execution, and they actually do have ad themselves. So, shoes on the other foot now. They have an opportunity now if they want to use a small ad, building it up, and I think it's even smaller than G6's. With the positioning of G6, it might be actually kind of hard to get these kills, but I mean, even if you don't want to use the ad per se, you could use it to bully them a bit for normal sack waves, just based off the passiveness alone from being afraid of a 15% ad. But it's looking like they're taking it. Double scouts, double soldier bomb. They immediately take out Caps. Oh my god, they're melting. They did not see this coming. I don't think someone was looking underneath. They are just dead. Bot mode and Kobe, they're trying to salvage. They want to get any sort of kill here. Kobe, last hurrah. Rocket doesn't quite hit the mark, and I mean, Laz is the only one to fall from that play.
Laz is now the respawners from G6 come out.
Oh,
it is
no.
Kobe and Caps, and that's bad. The Froyotech are just standing on the point. There's 3 up for G6, but I mean, it's not G3, it's G6, and 3 is not going to be enough to hold on. It's also 3-0 against G6, so not looking too good for them at the moment. I mean, Froyotech, sure, G6 have had a couple of opportunities pushing in on the Froyotech second. They've won a mid or two, but Froyotech are just looking so good right now. They're just looking so clean. They're so aggressive, like you said earlier in the pre-show, Jared, and they're not being punished for it.
You can tell that even though the mids are going back and forth, they definitely talked and worked on these transitions throughout the season, or at least maybe short-term in preparation for the match, because these are plays that are working very heavily in their favor that aren't the cookie-cutter stuff that you do in the middle of pushes and the like. But so far, map control in favor of Froyotech. Overall trade of players. Sophie with the counter initiation, taking Habib out of the equation and making them turn. It allows G6 to actually run 4, and it's deja vu of realistically the first mid we saw, where there was a lot of aggression. It was okay from Froyotech, and then Sophie comes in last second, gets a kill, makes everyone turn around, and everything that Froyotech just gained, they immediately lost. But you know what they haven't been losing? Rounds. G6 needs some. And last time they're in their position where they, you know, it's stalemate and they have a little bit of ground, they have not been able to work their way up to converting. And the dreaded alley moment that has been resurfacing time and time again may happen to them a third time if they're not too careful. So far it looks like a house scuffle a bit, but no, so far not a whole lot of committing, just trying to find some spam. A skip through from Sophie, trying to find some rockets onto Hubba to only take 50 damage, and that'll be all she wrote. So we'll see if they'll be on the move here. They're trying to work through underpass, trying to be able to make some space, and Ornament will hit onto one of the scouts. Won't be a big deal. Laz bombing forward, trying to make some space. Immediately denied. Patty maybe finding a kill onto Kobe. Will indeed collect that frag, but giving up his life himself. And they actually have a lot of room here. Laz going for it, kinda. Bit weak, has the pack. Killing Logan. God. Huge from Branson. He gave up a lot of health for him. He's okay for now. Laz just sending it. He does not care, but Caps will stay alive. And Howard, 25 HP, has to run. So it was looking a bit questionable on whether or not Froyotech was actually going to commit. But all it takes is recognizing the positioning from the side of G6. Sink the Down Man was a free kill, unable to be saved by Uber or anything of the like. They just walk in, take it for free. And now it's their turn to push alley with Uber.
They're just walking in again. They're at player decide. They don't even care. Brand Slam super weak, is going to be taking down Patty. Going in for the bomb. Does manage to get the force out. Hubba might be caught just a little bit. Bot mode over on the low ground, ready to pounce at a moment's notice, but seems like the combo of Froyotech should be able to get out. Soapy Meister over in Baby Door doing a lot of damage. Not even enough to get the kill, but the Uber has been used from Froyotech. Soapy might be the only one to fall here. Probably is, at least directly to the Uber, so not good for Froyotech. G6 in a good position to try and refight this, but seems like they're not going to.
Ooh.
They're just staying on second.
That was
and I
a
think
good play from Banny. He faked like he was gonna go back cap, and then everyone volunteered to go kill him, and he didn't commit. He faked them out completely. So they all go, I'll go back for the scout, and then there's no scout to kill. They're bombing in onto Logan. They bought a little bit of room. Laz giving up his life for it, and the soldiers are not really finding too much. It's actually Bransam might maybe able to get a kill on the caps. No, will not succeed. Hubba dying to bot mode. He'll give up his life for it, but Habib and Banny, last ones left alive, not really able to find too much. Now Banny will go for the back cap, purely just to buy time, make sure that there are as few people on mid as possible for when the wave of respawners hits. He will get cleaned up, but they had to run back for him, and maybe there's a little bit of room for some heals to poke around. Bot mode's dead. Kobe's rolling out. There's only 4 people from G6 here on mid, and 4 just respawned, but I think the Brand Slam sniper will kind of seal the deal on what the play is, especially because they have disad and might have to deal against a potential Uber if they poke their heads too far in, so we'll see if he hits the shot.
He's over in map room. He's trying to watch for the cross. The cross did happen, but no shot connected. The Uber has been used from G6. Is anyone on Froyotech in position of being caught? I don't think so. They've all been able to get out for free, and that's going to be really great for them because now they're going to have a pretty big Uber advantage. They're on their last, but we've seen Froyotech be super aggressive, so I think that maybe a risk of a back cap round win for G6 doesn't kind of dissuade them too much from trying to push out here already. They're taking control of lobby. Banny trying to get out. He's lagging a little bit. He's lagging a lot.
He's calling off the push. He's literally calling off the push right now from his lag, potentially. Oh no, okay, he's not lagging anymore. Never mind, he's gonna do it.
They're using in Habib, flying in so deep, trying to get onto Logan. Logan is completely caught out. That's so unfortunate for him. Probably the only one to fall. And I mean, even without a demo though, even though G6 are super close, they're probably just gonna have to wait till they get their demo and Uber before they go back in.
Yeah, I mean, if you go house right now, you kind of just run into the team. If you try to go underpass to get this force, then they just drop down on top of you and get you. So nothing Froyotech can really do except go ahead and set up. So G6, they have their Uber now. Logan's barely here. It's looking like it's going to be another house Uber. No one's spotting the cross. Laz kind of tried, wasn't quite able to see there in time, but Froyotech's general positioning is pretty passive, except for Brand Slam. Worked his way behind, unseen. Patty also hiding. This could be disastrous. There's 2 red health soldiers from G6 that can't get arrows because Laz is just sending it. He's on both of them. They ate the same damage in the flank from Brand Slam. Launching now, gets the kill onto Logan. Will die to Howard's arrow, so collecting kills all over the board here from the both medics. But overall, G6, not only did they fail to find the 2 hiders, I don't know what made the soldiers eat so much damage, and then they stood on top of each other for arrows, and Laz just, I think they got an arrow, and Laz just said, nope, you don't get arrows. Back to the same HP. But that was a small pause, presumably for Banny's internet, I would imagine, based on the lag we saw earlier. Who knows? But either way, great plays from Froyotech. Another thing that was most definitely like set up in a small way. Maybe more heat of the moment this time, but add for them, 40%, leave one on cap, keep going.
Bot mode is up on Sniper in the forward spawn, just trying to hit a miracle headshot right now. He's got the angle over into House, but Howard is also pretty close to getting Uber, so if Froyotech take any more time, it might be a bit disastrous for them, but they are going to bomb in. They do get in. They're trying to chase in super deep. So many weak players over on G6, but no one falling just quite yet. Soapy and Logan actually both go down now. All the kills crumbling in the favor of Froyotech. Howard does have now, but it's only going to be a solo onto Kobe. He finds one going into lobby, but the cap is already gone. Patty trying to go for the backup here. They have to go back and chase him, but he's just doing reroll the road. He finds Howard. He finds another onto bot mode. He taunts. It doesn't matter. Brand Slam in the 1v1 against Kobe. He is going to go down, but the damage has already been dealt. Patty just breaking every single one of their ankles.
Yep. Room for a loop there, and G6 really paid for not being able to track him down. So overall, another ad generated. I will like to say, I think what Laz did in there in that Uber was a perfect example of why soldiers being involved in ad Ubers is still extremely strong despite the Dome and Uber all the time meta kind of creating itself in like 2017, 2018 when Scout Sweep is added. On a map like this, a soldier is gonna get way further through all these indoors and outdoors areas, you know, than a demo is. So he definitely did a brunt of the damage there, and he gave up his life for it, but it definitely paid off in dividends. Speaking of giving up their life, Kobe almost did that. Had to go and reset, means he can barely block, and there's no soldier block. I think Kobe gave up too much HP. I didn't see what tied up Soapy, but he was unable to jump either. That was so much cap time so quickly. I mean, G6 is almost like they gave up the last for free. Things are starting to crumble, and if they don't get things under control now, it could all be over.
It really could all be over. I mean, the last time these two teams faced, it was on Sultry. It was a 5-1 to Froyotech. Now they're on a much more common map that G6 picked, Metalworks, and it's looking like it's gonna be a 5-0. We're going on to what could potentially be the last mid here. Habib, maybe at risk, he's getting bombed aggressively. Soapy Meister does find that one. Patty goes in, tries to find Howard, who's crossed under the point. Kind of a little bit of submarine mid. Nice from Laz to get that. And it's only gonna be Banny and Hubada, the last two alive. No one's really in position to chase them on G6, so they should be able to get out. G6 should be able to capture up mid. Probably not going to be able to get onto second, and it's kind of a repeat of what we've seen so often, Jared.
Yep. Mid's gone back and forth a little bit, but G6, I mean, this is one of those wins that are like wins with asterisks or quotations around them, because it's not much of a win if you are immediately threatened to lose it. They had to go for some crazy flank play if they want to hold on to this, or at least like a really good force. So we'll start to see Froyotech on the move. They're poking around the house area. They're going to decide to fake them out and go drop down instead. And we set up for shoves. They're going behind. Will not really meet their maker as Kobe. Going in for a bomb to go behind. Caps got taken down by Laz, so going to be down to scout there. There is a fact that I don't think Kobe was spotted. Could be a thorn in their side. They're not really turning around too much. He could have the perfect timing. The question is when will he pull the trigger? Seems like he's trying to at least kind of wait for G6 to get their Uber. He knows this is a leapfrog situation. Froyotech not on the move off of the cap skill. This is how you especially know that they don't know Kobe's behind, because otherwise they'd be like, let's go back and kill this guy, or let's run forward 6v4 fight dry. So all eyes on him. This is gonna really make or break it.
It really is. Oh, he's kind of made his presence known.
The impatience gets punished. I mean, they are going to chase him a little bit. It might make it a little bit easier to get through doors right off the bat for the side of G6. They've gotten outside of the house. They've worked their way out into alley. The soldiers have kind of given up their HP on the side of Froyotech. Laz barely has enough to be able to go in, but the Uber has been gained by the side of Froyotech. They are able to hold on this. It's no longer ad. A little bit too slow there, as Caps will die, Kobe will die, and the moment of glory that could have happened that G6 fans were dreaming of will not come to fruition. Froyotech will find themselves in a good spot to try to get Saxon to last, to break the upcoming 2 to last stalemate.
Yeah, they've got a player at Patty just jumping in, is making a little bit of room, trying to go in all the way. Actually, he's just standing on the point. They force out the Uber that way. G6 have to block it. Habib, nice pipes onto Soapy, but everyone else on Froyotech is falling. It's only going to be Habib and Laz, and they do have to use their Uber to escape. Habib going into Toxic to try and take a 1v1 against Caps. Might be able to win it. Actually, no. Caps is going to be able to win that one. Logan does go down, though, so no demos on either team. And Froyotech, they're back on second. That was a kind of maybe a sack attempt turned into a last push, and it could have worked out well if Hubada wasn't caught and they had to use, but they're already peaking without a demo.
They want a disrespect drive 45 and end this match. But question is, will they pay the price? Immediately Banny falls, Patty will fall as well. And maybe they're finally fighting off more than they can chew here. They kind of just ran into a situation that was stacked against them, did not care, and Froyotech kind of met their maker there. So G6, good normal execution, given maybe a little bit of a gimme, but either way, they had enough in the tank to make sure it was actually able to be collected. So they find themselves taking mid and taking 2. And Hubada actually doesn't have quite have Uber yet, because the entire team that he was supposed to be healing just kind of evaporated. So it was a little bit where he was walking alone, wasn't able to heal. But it's kind of artificial ad, but Soapy bombs in, eats some stickies. Oh my Habib!
Oh my god.
The taunt was granted. The 2 pre-fire stickies plus the air sticky. But Logan dying as well, probably not part of your plans. Froyotech on the move, trying to make some magic happen, but G6, they might want to take an exchange.
Yeah, they do, and they are going to go for it. They're already so weak, however, in the post of the Uber, as soon as it happens now, everyone on Froyotech has managed to get in on the second. Bransling finds one, he finds another. Both scouts being taken out for G6. Kobe with the late bomb, he does get on that. Oh my lads, with the upward direct, but still, his medic is dead. He's going to be taken down with a nice rocket from Soapy, and G6, they could try and come back in here with heals, but it's only 2 fracking classes against 3 Banny over in Valley. Might take the 1v1 against Soapy, but at the moment, he's just playing the high ground, being a little bit of a nuisance and just delaying those crit heals ever longer for the soldiers. So Froyotech, they're on their second. They're going to have a pretty big Uber disad. Brand Slam is spawning up on Sniper to try and get a nice headshot as everyone else on G6 mobilizing Valley.
Yep, had no scouts there early on, so couldn't dry up until this point with Patty. Bombing and Habib walking forward, they've learned that Froyotech's play in alley is to just send their entire team, and they're holding S because they couldn't pop and just run into them. They didn't have quite yet, but the kill on the Banny make things a bit easier for them. No scout speed, and Froyotech is not going to be poking their head any longer. They aren't able to really run away from the Uber if they make eye contact, so definitely want to just run away, and kind of aggressive. Habib doesn't really have too many stickies on the point. The Cap's finally going to go on second. Laz is going to die, and Habib, they're kind of getting punished here. Cap time in favor of G6, and they will finally convert the first round. But how many more will happen after this? It's 4-1 in Froyotech's favor.
It is 4-1, and I mean, we've seen 5-0 reverse sweeps before. G6 have a lot to do if they want to try and make this another one of those, because sure, the mids, like we've said, have been flip-floppy, but everywhere else Froyotech have really looked very good, and you can kind of attribute that last round to maybe Froyotech being a little bit too cocky, especially taking that player disad fight without a demo. But now we're going in onto the next mid. The soldiers, Soapy Meister, bombing around, landing on Batman once again. Now gonna be going back in for the fade. Tries to land on Branslam, not gonna hit it. Habib takes down Logan. Great opening start. Banny onto Caps, and that's gonna be Kobe, super weak above the point. The rest of the G6 squad trying to escape Soapy, trying to get some damage out there to just deny Froyotech from getting in, but it's not going to be enough. Everyone on Froyotech are going forward, and it seems like they want to make this into a sack push on last already, Jared.
Yeah, can't even talk about the mid because the fight's still going on. Soapy takes a lot of damage. They dealt some to Froyo, so they have to all back up and get some arrows to be able to go ahead and walk away and escape. So overall, it pushed the enemy team back to last, and Froyotech have prevented G6 from having any say on what happens on 2. But that mid, Logan immediately getting put in Demoman prison for Metalworks mid, aka just sitting top left, unable to really make a whole lot of moves to get out of it. It just kind of seals the deal for that mid. Gets a det on the Patty, that'll help with the defense here. Brandsam was going for the 2-man overall with him and gets sticky out as well. Will I keep the ball rolling? Laz falling, 3-man. You see Froyotech do a lot of 3-mans, and sometimes they say, sometimes they leave. Soapy going through ramp, unspotted, 1 rocket. Doesn't get too much more than that though. Nice pipes from Habib. Gotta keep healthy though. Froyotech, they barely getting players. They barely have the HP, and they will go ahead and split off, recognizing that they've given up way too many players and way too much ground. But it is a 6v5 scenario with Soapy dead. It's a stalemate with them having a favorable position to go for sack wave, or maybe even more, because Froyotech have been kind of on one right now, playing really crazy. They're just walking in. Unfearful right now is Laz pulling the trigger. Distraction for the sack will fade, seeing the medic go ahead and back up. Howard only being able to heal so many players, so Patty bombs through the unhealed ones, gets the kill on the Kobe, gives up his life for it, but his distraction creates room for Froyotech to just walk in. G6, they're really not taking initiative on a lot of these Ubers, or these stalemate situations where Froyotech is just like walking in with their whole team. Even the ones they tried to take are not really leading out in their favor, but the sack, Howard, afraid of the air shot, will have to pop. The 2-man succeeds, and Froyotech only giving up 2 this time, make it the 4th, pretty textbook, and it's looking like they're in a pretty good spot to seal the deal on this match. It just all comes down to the execution.
It really does, and maybe if G6 can hit some type of amazing shot or some type of amazing play of their own to get the force out onto Habada or the drop, then they won't be at risk of falling to this incoming push from Freya. But as it stands, it's really looking really good to be a repeat of the previous matchup, a 5-1 scoreline. Let's see if Froyotech can make it so. They bomb in with the Uber. Habib flying in very deep, the center gun very far back. It's not blocking the port. Bandit's just standing on it. Someone block him. Finally, Soapy Meister does, but it doesn't matter. There's too much cap time. And Froyotech, they take it just like that. A repeat of the very first matchup, 5-1. And Froyotech are undefeated in the regular season, and they are looking incredibly strong heading into playoffs. There were maybe, people thinking, oh, G6, they're the ones to beat. No, this is prime Froyo. There's no questions about it whatsoever. They are the ones to look at going into playoffs.
Especially on this map, because Metalworks is kind of a, compared to a lot of other maps, it's a kind of a wonky map. Just compare and contrast. So to be able to pull out specific plays like they did, kind of shows that there was a whole lot of preparation specifically for the map. Kind of curious if that is short-term or long-term, but either way, definitely makes sense that teams are going to be entering playoff mode. There's no slouching. You give it all you got with all the intricacies possible, and you come out on top. They get the repeat scoreline, 5-1. Undefeated season so far, like you said, and we'll see what happens in playoffs, as that is the end of Froyotech matches, and we'll next time we'll see them is the weekend of April 5th and 6th, but we have the logs on the screen here. It's kind of hard to find some happy moments for the side of G6 when it's a 1-5 loss, but bot mode was popping off. 30 kills for his team, so made sure that when damage was done, he was there to clean it up. But otherwise, it's kind of a Froyotech show.
Yeah, it is a Froyotech show. I mean, Habib, 314, doing a lot of damage, always finding his man. I mean, another thing is just kind of a Howard 11 deaths, Hubbard a 7. And another interesting thing is that I think a lot of that comes down to Hubba was able to live on quite a few of the mids, whereas Howard died, and even though G6 would capture it up, and we kind of saying the mids were flip-floppy, they were actually much more in favor of G6. Froyotech only won 2, I think, of the, 7, 8 mids? So G6 winning a lot more, but I think often at times it was kind of a, not a real mid win. Like, you win it, but you know if a team has Uber ads, so you're going to be pushed back, and after that, and even a couple times where G6 did actually win the mid, either with killing both their medic or keeping Howard alive. It just they just weren't able to push on a second. Froyotech, they had that game plan, and G6, they kind of found a counter to it at the very end, but at that point they just had too much ground, literally in the rounds, and also just kind of a metaphorically as well, to make up that it didn't really matter.
Yep. I think a hidden stat kind of to go, I don't know if it's a stat really, but to go along with very much like the plays that they either talked about before or like created in the heat of the moment that, reminisced of stuff they've talked about or, done in the past was, funny enough, it's kind of the purest example was what happened at the first mid, how, they took Howard out of the equation, but they failed to kill him nor anyone else that wasn't getting healed. After that, they made that mistake on the first mid. It seems like besides the mids, the rest of the transitions on the map were very much like let's kill Howard, and if we can't, then we're gonna just kill whoever hasn't been beamed for like the last 10 seconds. There's no way they're buffed. You literally just go in and 2-shot them, and even if you trade, that's so much room for the rest of us to walk in. And I feel like, at least from a bird's eye view, I'm not sure what parts were caught by the camera and what not. Obviously, even if you watch the soldier bomb in to go ahead and get kills, it's hard to see what's happening behind them. That happened again and again and again and again and again. Howard playing safe in a spot where it doesn't lead to his death or anything like that, like a normal spot. But you have people off to the side or whatever, they're kind of chilling and playing their part, but they're unable to rotate for buffs, and so they're just kind of sitting there forever. Eventually the trigger from Froyotech is pulled onto those players. People are turning for Laz or for Patty or whatever, and then the entirety of Froyotech just kind of walks in. And in the mids, there was counter initiation. You saw it a lot from Soapy, a little bit from Kobe, and that's what helped them really win the mids. But outside of the mids, I feel like it was kind of missing, and that definitely didn't help G6 at all.
No, I 100% agree. It did not whatsoever. Froyotech having a much better game plan, reviewing it and having some set strategies, like you said, heading into this, and it really paid off for them. Of course, even though that was Froyotech's last game, it's not G6's last game, which is actually going to happen tomorrow night, like a G6 versus Jiminy. Same time, same place. So definitely stay tuned for that, because again, even though like a G6 are into the playoffs, it still does help decide seeding and maybe some pick bans, and if it comes down to that, that could be very important towards who has a easier run into playoffs. So still a lot on the line outside of just kind of getting your final warm-ups before playoffs do actually happen. And then Jimny, they just want to close things out and have a nice solid finish to the season. But I don't think we have any interviews ahead of us, so I'm just gonna say that we're gonna start to head into shoutouts. Jarrett, any from you?
Oh, definitely shout out to the teams for playing, and shout out to everyone who's been watching so far this season. Definitely been a blast, and I can't wait for for playoffs. It is going to be, once again, if you're new or you forgot, it's playoffs weekend, April 5th and 6th, Saturday and Sunday. We'll have a slightly earlier start times that aren't set in stone yet, I don't think, by like at least 4 or 5 hours or something. It'll start in the evening to fit all the matches. So definitely, if you want to make playoffs or make playoffs in terms of watching it, definitely clear your calendar a little bit because it'll definitely be a sight to see.
It should indeed be a sight to see. I'm going to mirror that. Obviously, shout out to the players for playing, the teams, everyone in the season for playing. It's been really, really fun to watch, and hopefully playoffs should be a lot more of the same. Obviously, shout outs to you, Jared. It's been fantastic, casting with you this season. Very excited to do some more in playoffs, and Dolphin for everything he does behind the scenes and for production. Obviously, shout outs to chat. You guys are amazing for watching. It's the reason why we do this in the first place. And also shout outs to the RGL merch. It's some really great stuff. We've said it before, but there's lands, plural, coming up. So a good way to kind of show your engagement with the community and rep some nice stuff there. Outside of that, that's going to be it for us here at RGL. This was Like a G6 versus Froyo. Froyo winning it 5-1 on Metal. Stay tuned because tomorrow night we got G6 versus Jiminy map to be decided. Should be another really great game. We'll see you there, and have a good night.